What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dead Ball TV. We got another Premier League recap for y'all. If you guys like videos about the Premier League, make sure you hit subscribe and drop a like on the video if you could. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of these results quickly. Aston Villa beating Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-1 comeback victory there. Leicester City drawing Everton 1-1, also scoring late in that game. And Southampton surrendering a 95th minute equalizer at home against Ipswich Town to draw 1-1. So, Connor, currently how the Premier League is looking is we have three teams right now with 1 point each: Everton, Southampton, and Wolves. Which one of these teams do you think bounces back the most, and why?
I'm going Wolves. I'm going Wolves all the way.
You're going Wolves.
Yeah, first off, and
The
I'm
farm
sure
on
everybody
Wolves.
is the farm on I'm betting the farm on Wolves. And
Okay.
I'm sure everybody's sick and tired of this. But they passed the eye test for me. They passed the eye test. They're doing things. Things happen with this team.
Yeah.
Now maybe this latest game wasn't exactly the best. What sort of maybe this
Embodiment of
latest
that?
game doesn't maybe that doesn't this last game doesn't necessarily embody that, because for large stretches of this game not much was happening. But when these guys are firing, they're firing. I think they've got some nice talent up top in Strand Larson
Mm-hmm.
and Cunha. I think they're very good. Not to mention that, well, you know what, this might even be a different conversation if Kaladzic didn't have, a cruciate ligament that's in, disrepair at the moment. Maybe try not being 7 foot and playing in the Prem. Real Madrid basketball team needs you. I mean,
Well, it's working for Holland, but we'll get to City Arsenal later.
It's working for but Kaladzic got a few inches on him. I mean, Kaladzic is just like he puts on 20, 30 pounds as a power forward right there. Anyway, the point is they passed the eye test.
8th in the draft. Yeah, that's a lottery pick.
It's a lottery pick in the NBA.
He's going straight to the Charlotte Hornets.
He's going straight there. Yes. I also want to talk about their fixture difficulty. Just to start off. Dude, they just played Aston Villa. They had Brighton before that, Newcastle before that. Then, we're looking at what? Chelsea and Arsenal and Burnley. What team has had a harder start to the season than that? Not to mention, I think that their next few games are also pretty tough. Coming up, they've got Liverpool, Brentford, then Manchester City, Brighton again, and then a pretty, maybe not a tough to beat Crystal Palace, but a Crystal Palace that you really don't know what they're doing. So
you don't know what they're doing at all.
I'm going to say that their fixture difficulty is quite difficult. And I find that they have a very similar issue. We'll get into this with Crystal Palace, but I just don't think that their creation is incredible. I think that they have really good talent up top. It's just a matter of getting them firing and getting the ball into threatening positions for them, which I think is kind of difficult. And, it's even more difficult to do against really good teams. So I think you give them 4 or 5 matches, and then we're going to see a really good run from them leading up to Christmas. And I don't know what the matches look like afterwards, but probably after Boxing Day, hopefully we can carry that on. But dude,
I'm going to agree with you. Yeah. I'm going to also say Wolves. And guys, I asked the audience, if you guys want to participate in our polls, you can follow us on Instagram. The link is in the description. 58% of respondents also said Wolves. 36% said Everton. And only 7% said the Saints of Southampton. Wolves, very quickly, I think they're one of the more confusing teams in the Prem right now. Like, when I saw that they not only had 1 point, but they're also bottom of the goddamn table, I was like, this cannot continue. And it won't continue. Because if you look at how they played, like, it's honestly, it boggles the mind. Like, I remember, and I think we talked about this in our Prem recap video, when Chelsea beat them 6-2. And it was like, hold on, this was a fairly competitive game where Wolves, I believe, were winning at 1 point, and Chelsea walk away scoring 6. It was like, okay, maybe this is a fluke. You know what happens? Sometimes you play well and you just don't get the result. Fast forward to this game here against Villa. They're by far the better team in the first half. They have a 1-0 lead. They look like they're cooking. And then in the second half, 0 shots on target. They completely fold. Unai Emery activates his trap card. which evidently is John Duran, who just scores every single time he comes on as a substitute. And they lose the game 3-1. They went from 10 shots in the first half to 0 in the second half, and they end up getting bodied again. So I'm like, okay, is this bad luck? Is Gary O'Neill a fraud? Is it the fact that the players aren't good enough? Or is this just like they've been unlucky? And I kind of think with Wolves, it's been unlucky. On top of the fact, I mean, look, Matthias Cunha needs some goddamn help on this team.
He
I
needs some
think
help.
Larson's been encouraging. Bellegarde, is he ass cheeks? No, he's not ass cheeks, but he's not.
What about Ait Nouri? You want to talk ass cheeks? Oh my God. The man, listen to me. The man looks so promising for the
Oh
first,
my
I don't
god.
know, 16
Yeah.
touches that he takes. And then after that, it's just like, whoa. It's like something's got to give. Like if this man can beat his marker, I see some tremendous talent there and I see some upside, but it's just not paying off. And is that a numbers game? Is he just facing better players? They just have to be the mid to lower tier killers in this
Yeah, they
season.
do.
Ait Nouri has to feast there. I mean, if he's their creative outlet, he looks like a bad Estupinian, which Estupinian looks like a bad Estupinian right now, right? So maybe
Correct.
that slot is filled. But it's like it's so close. It is so close to being there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if they had one more creative player, this is looking like a really well
Dude,
put
yes.
together team.
I think they're a center back and a right winger away from being pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to go back in the transfer market. Ait Nouri, I think I've talked about this in other episodes. Like, offensively, very strong player. Defensively, just awful. Awful fullback defensively. And when he's not getting assists, when he's not scoring, and he had a couple saucy moments against Villa, forced a great
Yeah.
save from Debu. But it's like when he's not fully converting, he becomes a liability. And he is a straight liability defensively. He's a liability for Algeria. So I think he's kind of an overrated player. I'm going to be honest, which sounds weird because he plays for Wolves, but I do think he's a bit overvalued in like what he brings. So Wolves, we're kind of in agreement there that they're probably the team that bounces back. I think Everton even has a very good shout. I'm looking at Everton's next 5 fixtures. I'll say Wolves very quickly, and then I'll say Everton's. Wolves next 5. Liverpool at home. Brentford away. City home. Brighton away. Palace home. That's pretty damn tough. Everton's next 5. Crystal Palace at home. Newcastle at home. Ipswich away. Fulham at home. Southampton away. So if we're talking who's got the easier next 5, it's Everton. And maybe we just pivot on over to the Everton part of this discussion. I mean, it's kind of now or never for Sean Dyche. You got to do it now. This is probably the easiest run of games they're going to get. If he saves his job, it's in the next 5. I just told you the fixtures. How many points do you think Everton take for the next 5?
I think you got to take 6 minimum.
Got to take 6. Yeah.
You got to take 6 minimum. I think ideally you take 6 to 8. Ideally you take 6 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Newcastle side that you can get a draw against. This 100%. Is a Newcastle side that you can 100% get a draw against. They are feasible right now. Mm-hmm. They are feasible right now, and unless Harvey Barnes, kicks it up a notch and loses his mind, I think there's a definite possibility there. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that Wolves and Everton have the opposite problem. Whereas Wolves, I think, a lot of what they do, they show a lot of offensive potential. And I think Everton does the exact opposite. The Sean Dyche masterclass, typical, right? They've got a really sound defense on their day. It's just, can you get the goals? Can you get the goals to make that happen? Now, a lot of these teams that they're coming up against also sort of bottom of the table defensively. Let's see it. Let's see what you can do here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the results. recently for Everton. Obviously, the 1-1 draw to Leicester City at the King Power. Everton really needed the 3 points there, but they surrender another lead. They've dropped the lead in 4 of the last 5 games. I think the most famous one was against Bournemouth when they allowed 3 goals in the 87th minute and later to lose the game 3-2. But I still think Everton have enough. Like, I kind of think they're getting a little unlucky with this stuff. And I think blaming it on Sean Dyche, I just think is so lazy from some people. Like, dude, I saw a stat that was crazy. Jordan Pickford, what do you think his save percentage is this season? He's faced 27 shots on goal.
60%?
He's got a 49% save percentage. Everton have conceded 14 of the 27 shots on target. What the hell is Sean Dyche supposed to do about that? This is England's number 1. I mean, good Lord. How is that Sean Dyche's fault? It's only Sean Dyche's fault if he doesn't look for a replacement now, which I'm reading that Everton is doing. Also, kind of tying it back into our intro question, Jared Branthwaite, who probably is going to get sold for $60 million in a year or so, was probably their best player, if not their second best player last season, hasn't even played. He's been injured the entire time. But I think he's coming back soon. I think. I could be wrong about the timetable there. But I think when he comes back and you see Everton stop choking near the end of games and maybe Pickford gets benched, I think that's enough for them to stay up.
Yeah.
Now,
To be completely fair, they are missing Branthwaite and Mikolenko.
yeah,
Those are two
Mikolenko's
big
a big miss too.
omissions.
Yeah. And this is Everton, who have no depth. So I think that's why Everton in the long run, I still don't see them getting relegated. I'm still not ready to get on that bandwagon. I think they've had some good displays. They're just missing big pieces. They got the worst goalkeeper in the division right now. And I think they've got a bit unlucky. I think over, the next 30 games that will correct. Now, Southampton, I think these boys are done. I'm going to be
Cooked.
honest. Their next 5, Bournemouth away, Arsenal away, Leicester home, City away, and then Everton at home. That Everton home game decides who gets relegated. If Everton win against Southampton at St. Mary's, they stay up for sure. For sure. And bro, I don't know how much Southampton you've watched this season, dude, but their attack is diabolically bad.
Yeah, it is diabolically bad. My one takeaway from this is just stay away from Brereton Diaz. I mean, don't touch him with a 10-foot pole because the man starts seeing minutes for Chile. They start nosediving. His old team gets relegated. And now he comes to Southampton, and all of a sudden, what's going on? I mean, he hasn't had a goal contribution this season. He's not even getting minutes anymore. I don't think he started this last game for Southampton.
No, he didn't. He got benched.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Just don't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Dude,
First man out of my fantasy league.
I just want to know how Cameron Archer got signed to Sheffield last transfer window for like 30 mil or whatever it was, did absolutely nothing, and then got purchased by Southampton. Like, I just want to know what the board was thinking.
They took him and Brereton? Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, they got Cameron Archer, the striker. They got Tyler Dibling, who's 18 years old, actually scored the goal against Ipswich, starting at right wing, and Ryan Fraser, who's been finished for about 4 years as a left winger. And then they got some young Argentine or a Portuguese, Mateus Fernandes, starting at the cam. I don't really know much about him. But this team, dude, it is not good.
It's not looking good. No,
I think they're relegated, confirmed. But anyways, you guys let us know which one of those teams you think bounces back first. Next two fixtures I definitely want to talk about. West Ham losing 3-0 at home against Chelsea, and Crystal Palace getting the draw 0-0 thanks to some heroics by Dean Henderson. Now, if I'm looking at the table, West Ham currently are 14th place. They have 4 points after 5 games. Crystal Palace, even lower, 16th place, 3 points. They have yet to win a game. Which one of these two teams, Crystal Palace or West Ham, has been more disappointing to start the season, in your opinion?
Dude, I'm gonna take Crystal Palace.
You would say
I'm gonna
Palace?
take Crystal
Okay.
Palace here. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, a little bit of this is gonna come from bias, but if we're just straight talking Crystal Palace here to start, because I really have not watched a lot of West Ham, just full disclosure.
You're not missing much.
No, 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 no. I don't think I am. And frankly, if you've missed a lot of Crystal Palace, you're also not missing much. You're also not missing much.
I'm so glad I missed most of that Man U game. Yeah, they looked.
Yeah,
I
genuinely,
don't know.
genuinely. I will just start off by saying, if we're going to talk about this Man U game, Crystal Palace got so lucky,
Okay.
so stupid lucky. Manchester
Mm.
United was. The announcers kept saying they were dominant. I wouldn't say that they were dominant, in that I felt like the game was going back and forth quite a bit. Man United was getting shots off. These lads need to figure out how to finish so that they don't get just clowned for another season. Because, I mean, the amount of opportunities that they had in that game, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it was diabolical. It was diabolical. Let's see.
I
What
can
do I
I can
want to
tell you
say?
six shots on target for Manchester United, 5 big chances. I believe they're leading the league in big chances missed with like 17 through 5 games. And they have, I think, 5 or 6 more big chances missed than the second best team. So they're the opposite of clinical, which has been a problem for, I don't know, 3 years now.
Bruno Fernandes and Garnacho went absolutely off. There was some really good interplay from a lot of the midfield, pushing forward, and yeah, they just weren't able to get it done. And that's
So
just really unfortunate
so why
for
why
them.
why Palace? You said you had the bias for
Why
Palace
Palace?
over
Yeah,
West
yeah,
Ham.
yeah. I like Palace. I think Eze is doing a good job, and Mateta has,
Oh god.
dude. He's got something. There is a capability there. When we see him firing, we see him firing, but his only contributions have been 2 goals in 1 game. Like, that's it. That's it. Eze's also not finishing his chances, so, I mean, maybe we can draw a
Mhm.
parallel there between them and Manchester United. But, yeah, their goals per match, they're scoring point 0.8 goals per match. They've got a 6.6 XG, which is not great. It's just a little bit lower than midway. Not many shots on target. They don't have many big chances missed. I'm honestly drawing some parallels between Aston Villa too, because, or excuse me, the Wolves too, because they need somebody to get the ball up to these guys. When they get the ball, they will take shots, and if they're not clinical, you just got to get them with volume. Okay, you've got a decent defense. Defensively, they're not doing very poorly on stats. They're probably middle of the table, maybe just above. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a lot of 7 to 9 rankings there for their defensive stats. So, okay, fine. You don't have to worry about that. That doesn't, like, we can work with that.
Yeah, we can work with that.
If you don't have goals per match, you have to look at chances created, right? Because if it's a finishing issue, you'll have a lot of chances. They don't have a lot of chances. Their chances are worse than their shots, right? So to me, I mean, dude, that just points that you need somebody in the middle of the field. And I think they need it worse than Wolves, you know? And maybe that comes from, obviously Olise is gone, so that is a
Yeah.
major issue, right? But for somebody like Eze, who was doing a little bit of both, primarily a goal scorer, I feel like, if you give him even more of a workload in scoring the goals, that chance creation has to come from somewhere. It has to come from somewhere, and it's not going to come from Mateta dropping back. He's an out and out 9, just full stop. So I don't know
Right.
where that's going to come from. I think it's very similar to Wolves here.
That's very interesting. I'm actually gonna say I'm a little more shocked by West Ham.
Okay.
And I'm a little more shocked because of 2 main factors. One is that Crystal Palace sold Michael Olise and Joachim Anderson. Nobody's talking about Joachim Anderson. And I know they signed some, I think, like young German CB. He ain't Joachim Anderson, bro. Him and Gahey were probably one of the best CB partnerships in the Prem the last 3 seasons. And now we're kind of having to start that over. And obviously, these new guys with Chris Richards in the back three, they obviously don't have the chemistry yet. Doesn't mean they suck, but it's going to take some time to replicate that formula. Like, Palace really had something there. And Michael Olise, he's got 5 goals, 3 assists in his first 6 games for Bayern. Think Palace is missing that right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're missing that too. When I look at West Ham, they didn't really lose anybody. Like, they loaned out Garrett and Ward-Prowse. The Ward-Prowse loan was a weird one, but I was like, okay, whatever. They made some big moves in the summer, and they appointed Lopetegui. So it's like you got the same team, right? Everybody blamed David Moyes for being a dinosaur. Like, this is why West Ham aren't good. Wait till they get a different manager. They're going to take off. And Lopetegui, I think, at Sevilla, far more successful than his last job at Wolves. I don't really think he did anything when he was Wolves. Gary O'Neill literally came in and did better. But it was like, okay, let's see what these guys can do. And they've been pretty shit to start the season. Like, they've conceded 3 goals 2 games in a row, albeit it was Chelsea and City. But both of those games were at home. They've lost all 3 games at home this season, and nobody is really playing well except Jared Bowen. So I'm a little more shocked by the West Ham just because I knew Elise leaving. It was like, okay, this is going to be massive. And then Anderson left, and it was like, wow. Well, I hope Chris Richards is ready. Because now he's the main man already. And I don't know, they're making some weird decisions too. Like, Jefferson Lerma started like 1 game the entire season.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
know
He's
why
a bench
that's
player.
happening.
What I'm
I
thinking
don't
is
I don't
that
get that.
we always and again, this is where my bias is gonna come in, like I said. I think that I was just excited to see Eze take more of a leadership role here. I feel like I was sold a different dialogue, like, okay, well, this guy's gonna pop off now because he is the one, he's their star, you know? He's their star. Let's get the ball to him. He's gonna run the offense. He's not running the offense. They brought in Nketiah. Nketiah, what that guy's
That
at
was a
9.
weird one. That was a weird
I don't
one.
I don't think it
Weird
was a weird
transfer.
one. It's look, to me, I thought it was going to, okay, we take Mateta off, we put Nketiah in, and we find somebody else for the right wing. But no, now Nketiah is up top and they've got like a trident, but they're not even playing wingers. I don't know. It's kind of strange to me. It doesn't make sense how it's working out. And I think I just had a lot higher hopes. A lot higher hopes. So me
Yeah.
personally, I'm definitely more disappointed in them. I also think that I like Crystal Palace more.
I like Crystal Palace more for sure, but it was always like the story hasn't changed. I think people just forgot what the story used to be, which is
Yeah,
when Palace have Elise and Eze at the same time, they are damn good. Then they sold one, and I think people were like, okay, well, maybe Eze can do it himself. Or like, oh, they brought Daichi Kamada in. He played under Glasner in Germany. Like, he'll be able to fill Elise's. But I'm a Japanese simp. Kamada is not on Elise's level. Not even close.
no,
And he looks very slow to adapt to the Prem so far. It was a free transfer, so it's like, okay, I don't think the financial risk was there. But you're never gonna get the same level of output from a guy who was a rotation dude at Lazio last season to Michael Elise, who steps into Bayern Munich, has 9 goal involvements in 5 games, and looks like he's got the team of the season locked up in the Bundesliga already. You're never gonna get that. So that's why I'm like, okay, I think I was expecting Palace to take a hit. But to have 0 wins in the first 5 is embarrassing. Like, they're good
yeah,
enough to at least have a win here. So
yeah.
both are just fraudulent. I wanted to ask you this real quick. Manchester United, 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses to start the season. They're 11th in the table. They have the exact same record as my Spurs, and they play each other next week. What we thinking goes down in that game? Is this a certified snooze fest draw, or are we about to see something of a shootout here? What do you think?
I think Spurs concede. Spurs concede goals, so they're naturally good
For
football
fun.
to watch. Yeah. Yeah, you guys concede goals. You also score goals. I think it's very hard to find a Spurs snooze fest. It's always exciting as a neutral. I think you guys, I just trust your offense more. I think you guys come away with a win there. Where is it?
It's Old Trafford.
See, there it is. That
There it
draws
is.
it back 50-50 to me.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. That's the equalizer right there.
that's the equalizer right there. Yeah, man, I'm just gonna say Kuti's got to keep his hands to himself so he doesn't draw any pens there. I think that's Man United's edge. I think they started, or a lot of their goals come from penalties, or at least that's the stereotype. So just don't give him an excuse. Just don't give him an excuse. But yeah, I'd put you pretty similar right now. I'm gonna give the edge to Spurs. That might be personal bias. That might be because I rate James Madison like crazy. You also have Solanke back, so it
Yeah,
might
and he
be
scored.
a different conversation now. Yeah, he scored. He
We got
wasn't. I. What did you think about his performance in that game?
um
Because I was
I don't
not
think
totally sold. I think he got lucky from
no.
some positioning, and there was the one cross that came in from what's your boy's name on the right wing?
Brennan Johnson.
Brendan Johnson. Yeah, Ben. Um, Ben Johnson. Brendan Johnson. Yeah, that one time
There's
Solanke
definitely
was
somebody
running
named
up, dude.
Ben Johnson out there. I'll say that.
It's got to be. Yeah, Solanke was running up and he was like begging. He was like screaming for the ball to come to him. Brendan puts in the perfect cross right in front of the keeper. And Solanke was like 4 feet behind. I was like, mate, either make the run or don't yell for the ball. You got to pick one. You can't be an asshole
Mhm.
about, calling for a pass and then not be where you said you were going to be. Because the ball
Mhm.
was there. The ball was there.
Mhm.
Where were you? That
No,
pissed
he's
me
not
off.
been great. He's not been great, and
He's not been
I'm
incredible.
trying.
Look,
I'm
he
trying
can
to keep my
finish.
calm.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of,
Mhm.
kind of. Like, but this was the entire risk with the Solanke signing, was Spurs create an ass ton of chances. We do not need a 9 who can participate in the buildup. That is not a necessity. We
Yeah.
have everything else checked off. Our chance creation is by far the highest in the Prem. Like maybe City has overtaken us because Arsenal played the entire second half down, and man, maybe statistically they have now overtaken Spurs in terms of like shots and chances created. But we have the most possession and most chances created in the Prem. Who's putting the chances away? Because it ain't Brendan Johnson. Dude, wasteful as hell. Son hasn't been that clinical this season. He's got 2 goals, I know, but one of them was like a cherry picked Jordan Pickford tap
Yeah.
in.
But he's also been passing a lot too. He hasn't had, they don't
Mm-hmm.
want him to be the out and out 9. They're taking that workload away from him.
Correct.
So he's participating more in the build up. So Solanke can finish on, or can work on his, can focus on finishing. Dude, it
You know who
just
we should have
kills me
signed?
because you should have signed Ivan Toney.
I was going to say we should have
Yep.
signed his teammate Mbeumo.
Oh, I think
Dude,
Mbeumo, that
stop.
would have been good.
Don't
I
you
like that.
disrespect
No,
my
no, no.
man.
Hold on. I'm not going to. I'm not going
A
to. I
Cameroonian
like
killer.
Listen, yes, he is the Cameroonian killer. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him.
But
I
did you
rate
draft him in
what he
fantasy?
does. He was up there. I already told you the debacle. Go look at the Patreon. It's a disaster. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
He's a
All right. I'm
fucking
on the
dis-
trade block weekly. All right. I'm signing waivers. Listen, I got a lot of men going out. Okay. The point is that I like what Mbeumo does building up. I like that he can contribute there. I think he's a good finisher. I think he's fantastic. You didn't want that. You want an out and out 9. You want a Holland, right? That's what you wanted. I think that they made the decision to sign him because Ivan Toney was like messing around. He was thinking about Arsenal, all of that. Brentford probably wanted to sell him for a lot more money, and the Spurs just doesn't play that, right? Now, the real pro move, what would have been perfect, is if they signed him there on that deadline day. Because if you get Ivan Toney for what I think he went to Al Ahly for 40 something, Ivan Toney for 50, great business. I think that could have been feasible. In the end, I think Brentford lost money because I imagine that that's what you guys were offering, somewhere from 50 to 60. So yeah, that would have been ideal. I
yeah.
just can't keep thinking about the what if. That it's killing me. I would have loved to see him on there. Mbeumo,
Well, it's tough. It's tough
yeah,
because there's not a lot of like obvious alternatives to Solanke that you could point to and be like, well, that was at least a guaranteed, double base, second base hit. There's not really too many of them out there. I mean, shit, maybe it could have been like Alexander Sorloth. Like maybe that could have been one. A guy who just scores goals. A big man in the box who just scores goals. But Solanke, again, like we don't even need to go on and on about this because it's too early. We need to at least wait till Christmas. If my man has
yes,
2 goals and it's Christmas Day, oh, this is looking pretty bad.
it's looking bad.
Right now, who gives a shit? He could score a brace against Man U next week, and it's like, what a signing. Like
Yeah, the
it's just
dialogue shifts. Yeah,
the dialogue shifts. But I seriously want to ask you this though: how much longer until Mbeumo is an 88 overall in FIFA, and he gets a legend card for Brentford?
he's got to be. He's got to be. He's got to be. I mean, it's overdue. It's
It's
overdue. We
overdue.
can see he's the real deal. Um, you know what's crazy to me is that he looks like he's put on weight since last season, and he's just as agile. He's a smarter player now. I don't know about his velocity, but that's not really his game. He's not just an out and out just speedster, you know?
Are you saying he's the James Harden of the Premier League?
I think we give it 3 more match days and then we make that call.
Okay, because he's got 4 goals in the first 5. I mean, he is
What are his
absolutely
assists looking
cooking
like?
right now.
What are his
Oh, he might
assists
have
looking
won.
like?
He might have won.
I'll take it. Yeah, close enough.
Oh, I'll take
Rip
it for
it.
sure.
That's James Harden right there. It's the beard. It's the beard. Yeah.
Let me see what he got. Oh, he got 0. He got 0.
All right. He gets
They
an
got you
assist
4
and then he's the
goals though.
James Harden. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right. To me, he's like Vince Carter.
How old do you think Mbeumo is?
Dude, he looks like he's damn near 36. How old
Yeah,
is he? 25?
he's exactly
24.
25.
He's 25? I remember you actually told me that last year because I was like,
Oh, I did?
God,
Okay.
how old is this guy? When are we gonna get him out of here? Like, I need Ivan Toney
Mhm.
scoring goals. And you were like,
Yeah.
he's 24. I was like, oh my God.
I think I realized that when we were doing the AFCON predictions. I was like, geez, is this Cameroon front line old as hell? I mean, Mbuemo's got to be 33. And I looked at it and he was like 24. I was like, wait a minute.
He's a
I was like, wait,
child.
he's a young prospect. I
He's a
was like,
promising talent. What is this?
yeah. I was like, he's literally in Africa's like best U23 squad. Like, this is insane.
Hey, can I
But he's
a
actually
quick
about to
sidebar?
be like, yeah, yeah.
Just a quick sidebar. I want a question for you
Okay.
because we got a little bit of time here.
hmm
Who are you taking? Are you taking Jared Bowen or are you taking Mbeumo?
I'm taking Mbeumo. I'm sorry. I'm
I think
taking
so. You know
Mbeumo.
what's interesting about that is that I think that Bowen has 1 year on him of really good productivity, but I like Mbeumo. Mbeumo scores some bangers.
It's hilarious you asked that question because if I'm ranking the 3 most underrated attackers in the Prem, those guys are in the top 3, both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like people act like Bowen's a scrub. That dude's a baller.
No, no. Who's telling you Bowen's a scrub?
Hey, the
You
streets.
t- you you show me somebody who thinks Bowen's a scrub. I'll show you somebody who doesn't watch the Prem.
Who's more underrated as an attacker in the Premier League than Mbeumo and Jared Bowen? Because I genuinely have Mbeumo 1. I'd have Bowen 2, just because he did get called up for England, so I think he's got a little bit of clout there.
Maybe right
I don't.
now, Duran.
Is it? Oh, that's a great one. Not for much longer, but that's a
I
great
like
one.
him. Not for much longer. Yeah, he's if he has another result in the next 2 match days,
Mm-hmm.
he's up.
I'm gonna say, let us know in the comments. I got 2 picks off the dome. I'm gonna say Simona Dingra from Brighton.
Dog. Literally, I almost said that.
Yeah,
But I just don't want to talk about him because I need results. And he did not have a great game
yeah.
today.
Let me throw one more at you, and then we'll go on to the next topic.
Who else you got?
Hudson Odoi.
I think he's making a case. I think he's
Okay.
making a case. I'm
to
not
make it a case.
ready because I've been seeing his name for what 2 years at this point.
Okay.
I'm not sold. I'm not
You're
sold,
right.
but I'm watching with great interest.
Yeah. He hasn't shed the Chelsea skin yet. Quite
Yeah,
yet. Okay. I like that. Speaking of Chelsea, I already said they
Madueke's a
smacked
fraud.
up.
Oh, okay,
I don't know if he's a fraud. I don't know if he's a fraud, but they're a fascinating team. Let's break this down in two
they're a
parts.
fascinating team.
Who do you think has more wins by Christmas? Aston Villa or Chelsea?
Dude, so we were talking briefly about this. I saw this on the Instagram. I think I'm going to go Chelsea. They have taken a step forward. They've taken a step forward. They've taken a step up. It's
I'm glad you
looking
said that.
like some of their issues are not nearly as serious as they were last year. That being said, I'm not buying. I'm not buying or selling. I'm holding. I'm watching. I'm not going crazy on this, but Nicholas Jackson seems to have figured something out. They look like they've got a decided 9 now.
I think Chelsea have an argument to be the most unjustifiably scrutinized team in the Prem right now. I'm going to be honest, and maybe I'm tripping. They have not been bad, but the
No,
dialogue is they're shit. Like I was watching a clip from the club, and I think it was Roy Jennings. He said that the manager was going to be sacked by November, and I was like, why would you sack Maresca?
I'll tell you why.
You're doing
You want me to tell
pretty
you why?
well. Yeah,
I'll
tell
tell
me
you
why.
why. Because with Abramovich, that's how it was. If you weren't excellent with Chelsea, you were out.
Okay.
That's kind of carried on, not because they're running the same sort of footballing style. Very much so, it's been because the players have not been performing because they have 30 of them, right? So I think a lot of that stick is carrying over from last year and staying around. I see it completely, well, no, before I go crazy here, I see a different Chelsea this year. I see a completely revitalized Chelsea. No. Not in any way, shape, or form. I see small steps being taken that are having a lasting impact. I think Cole Palmer's been the best signing that they've had since the manager or the old owner went out, and we've
Oh
got our
yeah.
new American friend in now. I think that Cole Palmer's been the best signing. I think that he's brought some culture into the locker room of ice in the veins. I think it's more competitive with him there in the locker room, and I think that people are starting to show out and perform. I think you got to see another couple match days before you start talking about what the manager's doing, but this is progress. This is progress. Don't sell anybody out now or stick that dialogue out there now to totally frazzle the team again. Don't touch it. It's getting better. Don't touch it.
Mhm.
It's like a
It is.
plant. It's like a plant. If the plant's dying, don't, because you're overwatering it, you're trying to take too much care of it. You're just going to kill it faster. Let the damn thing breathe. Let the soil dry out a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe throw in some of those little styrofoam pellets to aerate things. You just give it a second. Let it breathe.
Yeah.
Give
Throw
it
in
a
a grub
whole
or something to eat some of
throw
the
in it.
dirt.
Yeah. Grubs don't eat dirt, but I know what you're saying. You got the
I
right
mean,
spirit.
don't tell me they don't eat a little dirt when they're down there. I mean,
You
you
gonna
know
look
they
at me, you
taste a
gonna
little
tell
dirt.
me a grub ain't never ate dirt.
You tell me in the history of the planet, a grub never eaten some dirt. Like, come on.
Look, every once in a while, a grub take a little spoonful of dirt. All right.
Yeah.
No, what you really want, you want some worms in there so that the worms
Mhm.
recycle the dirt. Because the worms will consume the dirt, but they don't eat it. It passes through one end of their body and exits out the
Just
other.
poop it out.
They don't
Yeah.
digest it though.
Okay. The grub digests it for sure. And then it gets food poisoning. It's a
Grubs are
disaster,
the
actually.
possums of the insect world.
Who
Is
is the
that a hot take?
grub in this metaphor? Is it Enzo Fernandez?
Oh, listen, you know what I hate to admit is that they've been playing better since he's not there.
They got too many players.
They got too many players.
They got too many players. Now,
They
what I
got too
want to
many.
say is the audience, 60% said Aston Villa, more wins. So pretty close, 60-40. I don't think I agree though. I'm with you. I think Chelsea might take it. I think the European football is going to slow Villa down. a little bit. I know they beat up Young Boys, but
Yeah.
that was probably their easiest fixture.
Yeah.
They're a pot 4 team
Yes.
in the Champions League, so they're going to play some big boys.
They're gonna play some big boys. They don't have the rotation that Chelsea has. That's the one
They
good
are
thing
deep
about all
though.
these players.
They are deep though.
They're deep, but they don't have it like Chelsea. Nobody in the Premier League, maybe Nottingham Forest has it like Chelsea, but even then, the talent isn't the same. You know,
Mhm.
so I'm saying that yes, that is going to slow them down. I think it's going to be exhausting. Probably some of the guys will get frustrated. I don't think Aston Villa will do poorly, but also I think that Chelsea has a tendency to show up for big games, right? So a lot of their big games, a lot of their rivals, the tougher games like Spurs, right? Or you come up against a City, Chelsea likes to get up for those games. Those are rivalry games. That's an exception. So
Mm.
adding that with their massive rotation that they have, the fact that they're trending upwards, I think that very much I would give them the edge. Aston Villa, I don't even think we've seen an Aston Villa as good as they were last year, yet. I
Yeah.
think there's still potential for that, but I don't know. I'm worried about this Chelsea trending up.
I think the bull case for Villa is they have a better manager and they have a better starting 11. That's the bull case. The bull case for Chelsea is they don't have European football. They have a deeper squad, and they're 3 wins from 3 away from Stamford Bridge to start the season. So their away form has been ridiculous. And they're scoring a lot of goals. A lot of goals. Looks like Nicholas Jackson has finally rediscovered his La Liga form in the Prem. So it looks like things are clicking for them. I just feel like the divided priorities for Aston Villa are gonna really cause problems for them as we approach Boxing Day. But I think it's gonna be close. I think whoever's got more wins, it's probably one more win than the other team, maybe 2, something like that. But you guys let us know in the comments who you think has more come Christmas. Let's end the episode by talking about the big game that happened today. Arsenal 2, Manchester City 2. Arsenal play the entire second half down a man. 26 shots for Manchester City in the second half. And then John Stones with the 98th minute equalizer. What's your biggest takeaway from this game? Let us know in the comments.
My biggest takeaway is that you know who I'm finally sold on now? This is probably one of the bigger switches for me, and I'm sure that I'm late to the party here. But Holland scored
Bernardo
a really
Silva?
big goal here. No.
Oh,
Holland scored a really big goal. Holland scored a really big goal. This is one that sold it for me. I was like, okay, I can have a little bit of trust in him against bigger teams. I'm there. As
do you
well
not think that's a
as
little
Rodri.
ridiculous, given that he just scored 100 goals for you guys in 105 games, for you to say now
Yeah,
you can trust him? You don't
yeah,
think that's
yep.
ridiculous of you to
I
say?
do, I do, I do think it's ridiculous. He's got big boots to fill though, and I'm
Like, you
biased.
don't think you sound like a fool right now saying that? The man
Maybe
got you a goal
I
every
don't
game for
care.
100 games in a row, and you're like, now I can trust you.
Yeah, yeah, I'll say that 100%.
You
Where was he in the
ain't
Where
that
was he
like
in the
saying
Champions League final? Where was he in the Champions League final? Where is he in a lot of our big games? When was the last time he showed up for Spurs? I'm still
he's
waiting.
won a
I'm still waiting to
Prem
get up
title with
against
you
you guys.
every time.
Okay, fine, great. Aguero's got more than him. I don't know what you want me to say here. Like, I'm okay being ridiculous here.
That's
This
that's
is
just
this is a big
longevity
step for
though.
me, though.
That's like saying LeBron got more rings than Tatum. LeBron 37.
Yeah, okay. In my head, I'm still comparing them. And no. Don't ever compare Holland to Jason Tatum. We're not doing that. No.
Well, Holland is way better than Jason Tatum,
Holland is
I
way
think.
better than Jason Tatum. That's what I'm saying.
But
Yes.
that's still, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you're kind of comparing Mahomes to Brady then. It's like, yeah, Brady got more rings, but he played till he was 43. Like, I
Okay.
don't think Holland has really had that many like historical. I mean, you literally cannot ask for a striker to have higher production. You cannot
No,
ask
you
for it.
can't. But against big teams, I'm not saying that he can't do it against big teams. He has done it against big teams. I'm just saying, when it comes up against Arsenal, I'm not. I will take Arsenal's defense over Haaland's scoring capability.
But that's because they have the kryptonite to Haaland.
Okay.
But
But now I know he can do it against the Kryptonite. I'm okay with that. It was only one.
okay, then I think it's more fair to say you can trust him to score against Arsenal more so than you can trust him because I mean he freaking
No, but
scores
that's
against
he's
literally everybody.
against everybody else. Yeah, and I know that, and I know he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's totally fine.
So your biggest takeaway from the game was you can trust Erling Haaland now as the
That
striker.
is the first thing that I said out of my mouth, and I feel like it's been blown incredibly out of proportion.
You're saying City don't need to look into the transfer market for a replacement.
I'm saying stay away from the transfer market for the next 2 years because I look, don't give me that 116th reason, okay? Please stay out.
Okay.
Um,
Very
I
interesting.
would say that I Jack Grealish, I love him. I think he's good. Okay, he had a bad year last year, but he's still got a lot to give here. We need Rodri more than ever. John Stones, thank God he's
Correct.
back. And dude, I'm just praying for my boy. Oh, what's his name? Face mask at the World Cup. Messi's son. What's his name?
Vardio.
Vardiol. Thank you. The only thing that was popping into my head was Gakpo. Um, yeah, Vardiol.
Close.
Vardiol. Vardiol with that screaming shot, looking good. Looking good. And what the biggest takeaway is that Arsenal is the real deal. They're back. They're again title contenders here.
I think the biggest takeaway is that they can absolutely win the league if David Raya plays like he's been playing. He has
David Rice,
been ridiculous. He's been ridiculous. Like
yeah.
he's kind of even ended the like best goalkeeper debate. Like I feel like we had the stupid like was it Ederson or Allison where when it was always Allison, like 4
Yeah.
years ago. And then David
It
Raya,
was never
especially that last
Ederson.
season
Yeah.
at Brentford, it was never Ederson. That was ridiculous. But then you had that David Raya last season at Brentford, and he was kind of like, "Hey, I'm also actually really, really good." And then Arsenal bought him, and it was like, "Oh God, do you want to buy him? I mean, Ramsdale was so good. Do you really want the competition?" Nobody is questioning that transfer now.
No,
Nobody. Like the
not even a
saves that
little
he's
bit.
making, I'm gonna say it's probably the best start to a season I've ever seen from a goalkeeper. Not saying he's the GOAT. I'm not saying he's better than Buffon and Neuer, but I'm saying through 5 games of the season, he literally could not do anything else.
Yeah.
I'm including the Champions League save against Atalanta as well. I think it's the greatest start I've ever seen, personally, with my own eyes. Don't ask me what happened in 1995. I don't remember. I wasn't born yet.
What about Matt Turner? Beginning of last year.
I mean, Matt Turner has had a couple of good games in the CONCACAF Nations League. He's kept a few clean sheets against El Salvador and Honduras, which were impressive,
And
and nobody
that's
can take those results
that's
away
where we
from him.
can stop. That's where we can stop now. Great episode, guys.
Yeah. No, but for real, I think David Raya, he's gonna keep them in the title race
Yeah.
until the very, very end. And this was kind of the first game where I was like, okay, if Trossard doesn't get a second yellow, which was bullshit. I'm just gonna say it was bullshit, in my opinion. Arsenal win this game, holy hell. Like we're looking at something crazy different. I think Arsenal have gotten a little effed by the referees this year. There was the Declan Rice red card. I think was it against Brighton? I can't remember the team. Odegaard getting hurt on international duty. Now you have this red card for Trossard. It's like, oh God. Like I despise Arsenal. But I'm like, you have to be objective and say they've had a tough run of it overall.
It's very diplomatic of you.
City, yeah. City. I thought Savinho looked good. His the first City goal when he spins Calafiori was sexy. Didn't really do
It's
too
nice.
much after that, but
No.
I think City versus Arsenal is like two teams that have damn near the same philosophy. Just Man City have better players. So I just think like over the run of 38 games, you guys are just going to edge it unless you drop points against, the weaker teams or something like that. Like I hate reducing the title race down to that, but like I just think that every time I see these two teams play,
Dude, you know
I'm
what it's
like, all
gonna
right,
be? It's gonna come down to Spurs. It's gonna come down to Spurs.
you think it comes down to
Can
Spurs 2 years in a row?
Yeah, yeah. Are Spurs gonna hold back City, and are Spurs gonna hold back Arsenal?
Why has it got to be Spurs? Why can't it be Chelsea?
Because you're our kryptonite. You're our kryptonite.
Yeah,
I'm
we're not
not
Arsenal's.
scared going up. I'm scared going up against you guys. I'm not scared going up against Chelsea. Not anymore. Not since Diego Costa.
I'm trying to remember Chelsea's recent results against y'all. I feel like it hasn't been that impressive, but now that
No, but
I've
it's
said
not
that, I'm
bad
sure
either.
they beat you
No, I
guys
think
3-0 last season.
they beat us at the start of last year. I'm pretty sure.
Did they?
Yeah,
And Poch was still sacked. Unbelievable.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna be watching obviously the City Arsenal race the entire year, and then you got Liverpool just chilling and nobody's talking about them. It's like Klopp left and they were like, okay, well this team's gonna fall off,
Yeah.
and then they just haven't. Like, yeah, they lost to Forest last week, but I don't think they've fallen off. I still think they're completely legit, and I think that those Liverpool City, Liverpool Arsenal games are gonna go crazy this year.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't really have anything else to say. You got something? Closing thoughts?
Uh yeah, I'll pray for Nketiah. Pray for Nketiah, and
What
I
happened to
want
him?
Durant to get his flowers. Oh, he's just bad. No, he's just
Oh,
bad.
okay.
Pray for my fantasy team. Prayers up.
$30 million move. Jesus. If Nketiah hits 8, I'll be shocked.
No, bring in Nketiah, get Mateta off, and a new right winger. That's it. That's all you need. I think Nketiah is the guy. I think he could do it. You just got to give
Strong
him a
disagree.
shot. Okay.
I don't know, bro. He looks so average. I feel like
Yeah.
Nketiah, God, is he gonna have the same career as like Daniel James? Where it was like he was at Man U and everybody, of course, all Man U fans were like, he might be the best right winger in 2 years. And then now he's at Leeds, I think, in the championship. Like, are we gonna see the same thing from
I
Nketiah?
really
I don't
hope
know. That's
not.
not a
I
prediction.
really
I'm
hope
just
not. I think I've seen better things from Nketiah overall. I have
I
faith.
agree.
You just got
He's
to
more
give him a shot.
talented as a
Let him
footballer.
let him play in his position, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you don't have him as
No.
an off striker there? I don't know.
Yeah, let's
Wild.
not have him play left wing and just see,
See,
see what
we'll
happens
just
there.
see what happens. You give him
Yeah.
45 good minutes at the 9 with a
Yeah.
competent right winger. We'll just see. He had some good interplay. He set some people up.
Yeah. He's got more tech than Daniel James is literally just like the Flash. That's pretty much it. So he's the Welsh Brendan Aronson, essentially.
Mateta's just a big body
He a
with a
big
strong
body.
right
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Nketiah and Palace, and how they compare versus West Ham. Really curious to see which one of those two teams who have been complete flops so far, which one bounces back. Because I think both managers have a lot on the line. Both Glasner and Lopetegui. As things move forward. But we're going to go ahead and end the episode there, guys. Let us know your thoughts down below, your biggest takeaway from the Premier League in match day 5. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure you drop the video a like. If you're listening on streaming platforms, please give the podcast a 5-star rating. And if you want to participate in the next edition of the Deadball TV fan polls, make sure you're following us on Instagram. You can find the link in the description of this video. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.